thought I'd try my hand at making a decorative book stack. The idea is I'm going to rip off the covers of these paperback books, paint the edge and put on a decal, all ready for spring. Fingers crossed it will look like this at the end of the project. So the idea for today is I'm taking some paperback books, I'm going to rip the covers off, I'm going to use my paints, and then I'm going to use my decal paper to add a little decorative motif onto the side. So come along and let's see what we need to do. So I'm just going to move these bits and pieces out of the way. So first of all, how do you feel about ripping some books up? So paperback books from the charity shop or from the curbside, lots of people are chucking things out. So I'm ripping the pages off. Oops. And just keeping this bit of the book. In fact, that's not too bad, is it? I was wondering whether I would need to paint it, so I need to decide whether I need to paint it. So I've got 3 books here. They're just 3 random books that I've got, and they happen to be different sizes. So the idea is I'm going to go from small to large, with the largest one at the bottom. That page has come loose. Page is loose as well. Oh, first few pages there. And turn that over. So the idea is I end up with something like that. And this apparently is very trendy, book stacks. So you'll have to let me know in the comments whether you've seen these before as sort of decor items. So I'm going to brush some paint on here just to bring them back to the same sort of colour. And I'm going to do that with a squirt of my acrylic paint. And then I wondered about doing some dry brushing afterwards by just sort of deadening back the white a little bit. So a tiny little bit of paint onto my saucer here, which I reuse all the time. As I start painting the spines of my book, I should give full credit to Julie from Julie's Designs and Signs for this idea. I watched her do this on a YouTube live, and I'll leave a link to her video up in the cards above and down in the show notes underneath the video. So what I'm doing is using my regular household painting brush, which I use as a craft brush, and just putting a light covering of paint across each of the books just to make sure that the books tie together. They've got a slight variation in colour, so I wanted them all to have an equally whitish back to them. Now, I made this video originally as a Facebook Live, and I didn't have any chance to dry my paint before I moved on to, from stage to stage. So if you're making these, you either need to factor in plenty of time for your paint to dry, or another tip, and this tip is from Yvonne at the Ginger Chick Rehab, and again I'll leave a link to her channel up in the cards above and also in the show notes underneath the video. You can always get a hairdryer out, and that dries the paint in a matter of seconds. That's all 3 spines painted. I didn't paint the sides of the book, I left them in their natural colour, and I'm just making sure here that I'm stacking them up in the right order, because I want the thickest book at the bottom and then going through to the narrowest book at the top. So all the time I'm remembering which way up my stack is in order that I have them ordered correctly for when I want to add on my wording. While my paint's drying, I'll tell you a little bit more about the waterslide decal paper that I'm using to create a little rabbit motif. I've printed off using some laser waterslide decal paper because we've got a laser printer, and it's the clear paper, and I have found an image online of a rabbit, and the idea is I'm going to cut this rabbit out, and that's going to sit on my book stack here, and the other side I'm going to have some wording. So here goes. While that paint's drying, I need to cut out as close as I can to the rabbit. So I'm going to cut roughly to begin with.
and then a little bit more detail around the edge. So it doesn't have to be right around the edge, but just a bit closer. So this is the clear paper, so the decal won't have a white trim around the edge when it's finished. It's just fade out to nothing. So have you used waterslide or transfer paper before? You'll have to let me know. Around the whiskers. Oops, I'm a bit too close to the whiskers there. And back and round.
With my rabbit on one end of my book stack, I'm then going to add the words "Let's stay home" to the other side, and it's this point I start to worry that the lettering I carefully measured up is actually going to be too tall for the books. So I've printed out these letters using my Cricut machine, and then I'm going to rub them onto my transfer tape and then use the transfer tape to transfer the lettering onto the books. As it happens, it's not too bad a fit. I'm just slightly concerned though about the length of the L in the "Let's." It's going to hang over the top edge of the book.
He would sort of, I'm going to cut him up so he's across 3 of the books, so you can kind of see what I'm thinking of doing. And then to get the books to stay together, I'm going to tie them all up as if they are a package. And then that becomes a decoration for a shelf or your mantelpiece, or if you've got a pot plant, you can set the pot plant on top of it, or a flower arrangement.
I'm going to add a bit of character to my book stack by aging it slightly, and I'm going to do this with some brown acrylic paint. It's a chalk paint actually. I'll leave the link to it in the show notes underneath the video. I think it's called Chocolate. So I'm just putting the tiniest dot of paint onto my saucer. I've cleaned my paintbrush, and then I dip it into the paint and then brush off the excess. So this technique is called a dry brushing technique. You're just using the smallest amount of paint. So instead of actually painting the spines brown, I'm just edging them around the end. And if you find you've been a bit heavy-handed, you can always go back in with your white paint and adjust the colour, but it just adds a little bit of a sort of antiquing touch to the books, so they're not quite so bright white. And once I've done all 3, again, I'm stacking them up in the right order to make sure that the fattest book's at the bottom and the thinnest book's at the top. And as you can see here, I've decided to pull off the first couple of pages of the top book. So I'm at the section that says Chapter 1, which just looks like a nicer top section, because this is the book you're going to be able to see once you're finished.
So over here I have got my transfer tape. I've just got 2 odd bits of paper on it so it didn't spoil. So I put the transfer tape over the top, and actually it's going to stick on there, isn't it? Oh, stop it sticking, and then take my scraper and scrape over the tape, and that will push the lettering onto the clear transfer tape, like so, that I can then peel off. Is it going to be stuck? That's right. I've now got my lettering all ready to put onto my book. So bottom book first. Decide where I want it. So that's nicely sized and evenly spaced. Is it level? Position it in place. Use my scraper again.
And once you feel that the writing has attached onto your book, you just go through and gently peel it off. And if it looks like any of the letters are lifting, go back and use your scraper again, just to make sure the text has properly adhered. And then I speeded up this section of film so you can see I'm doing exactly the same thing with the stay. And notice the Y is overhanging a little bit, but I don't think that's too bad. And then the tricky lets, and here you can see that the L and the top of the T and the apostrophe are on the top surface of the book. And at this stage I decide I don't mind that, because you'll be looking down at the book and the lettering doesn't read too badly in the end. But spoiler alert, I do change this, so do watch on to the end of the video and see what I did with the lettering before I finish the book stack and put it on my side. As you can see here, I'm having a bit of trouble getting my lettering to adhere here, and I think there's a couple of problems. Number one, that I'm doing this in front of a camera, so I can't entirely see what I'm doing properly. And number two, I'm not convinced my paint is sufficiently dry, so I'm working on a slight damp surface. And number three, the books have a slight curve to them where they've been opened up and used, so I'm not trying to get the lettering to stick to a totally flat surface. So I'm sure that if you come to do this project at home, you'll find it much easier if you have your book set down flat, and then you can really make sure that you're rubbing your lettering on to a really flat, squared surface. Now my lettering's in place, it's time to add on my decal rabbit, and I'm going to end up slicing it into 3 in order that as the books move a little bit, the rabbit decal doesn't get ripped. And I'll do this right at the end using a sharp kitchen knife. Because I'm working with 3 individual books, but I've only got the one whole rabbit to work with, I'm going to bundle my books together with an elastic band. I save these elastic bands and I pick them up in the street, you know, after you've had your post delivered, and you'll find a trail of elastic bands that you can follow. And then when they are nice and secure, I take my decal and I'm placing it into a bowl of warm water for about 30 seconds. And you'll notice if you pick it up, you can just begin to see the transfer just sort of curl and lift up from the backing paper. In my excitement of putting my rabbit onto my book stack, I missed out a vital process. I should have taken my sponge and just dabbed it in the water and run it lightly on the surface that I wanted to attach the rabbit to. This would have given me, it would have made it easier to move the rabbit around a bit. So you're sort of moving it onto a wetter or damp surface. So it worked out okay, but it wasn't quite as manoeuvrable and handleable as it would have been if I'd followed the instructions properly. So what you can see me doing here is holding the transfer in place and then sliding the backing paper out and then positioning the rabbit exactly where I want it to be and smoothing out the air bubble. So again, if I'd had my sponge with the damp sponge with me, I could have used that to smooth out the transfer, but it worked out perfectly fine. You just need to work carefully, and of course next time make sure you follow the instructions. Once I was happy with the positioning of my rabbit, I then took my knife and carved a line through the 2 gaps between the books. So you do need a really sharp knife to do this in order that you don't tear the transfer. In hindsight, if I'd let my transfer dry, I think this would have been much easier, so that I wasn't pulling the rabbit out of alignment. But as you can see, I was able to push him back into place. Now I've got my lettering and rabbit in place, it's time to start decorating. I'm going to tie my book stack in place using some green gingham ribbon, and if you fancy using a similar type of ribbon, I will see if I can find a link for that and leave it in the show notes underneath the video. So first of all, I measure round with the ribbon to see how much I need and then tie it in a bow. I've recently discovered a really great tutorial on YouTube showing you how to tie a bow so that the loops and the tails sit really neatly, and this is slightly differently to the way I tie my shoelaces. So if I can find it, I'll leave a link to that. up in the cards above and also in the show notes underneath the video. So the trick is that you work with the lower end of the ribbon and then take your second bow over the top of it. That doesn't make a lot of sense as I say it, but I will, if you look at the video, it will really give you a great tip as to how to tie a really, really neat bow. And then to finish off, I always like to fold my ribbon in half and take a pair of really, really sharp scissors. Fabric scissors are great for this, and cut from the folded ribbon up and out towards the outer edge, and that gives you a really neat finish. I don't know about you, but this lettering is starting to bother. To me, it's just too visually heavy, and I'm bothered by the fact that the let's is hanging off the top of the page.
And the Y got lost as well in the little crack there. So what I thought I would do was take those off. So I'm going to see if I can use the hook from my Cricut machine, and failing that, I could use my hairdryer. In fact, I think I might have to use my hairdryer. All right then, so when I put this on here, it should slightly melt the tackiness, and that's come off with hardly any tearing.
Noisy as it is, the hairdryer worked really well, and because it's melted the tackiness, it meant I could peel the letters off really easily.
And that's probably enough of the hairdryer for now. So what I have done, a little practice with my stamps. So these stamps here are they're children's stamps, and I bought these at an NCT sale when my daughter was very little, and I think actually they came from the Early Learning Centre. If I can open the box, I thought I would stamp on there as well, and it would give me a lighter touch, and the lettering is slightly smaller. I think it would probably work well better with the sort of slightly weathered texture that I've got across the book. So part of the reason why I've stamped it out to begin with was because I wanted to remember how to spell. There's nothing worse than doing something and you get confused about how you're spelling. Also, I wanted to get a handle for how heavily I needed to stamp on my pages. So it would probably be easier to do this if I separated the books, but I'm not going to because I was quite pleased with my ribbon at the top. So let's go. L.
I love the way these stamps turned out, so you'll have to let me know in the comments below whether you prefer the faded, weathered look of the stamping kit or whether you like the bolder Cricut letters that I used originally.
Why? So what do you reckon? Does it look better with it stamped on, or did you prefer it with the vinyl lettering on?
And after a quick cup of tea, I carried on to complete the project, taking off the bold, shiny vinyl lettering and replacing it with the slightly worn or aged looking stamps. Personally, I think I prefer it just like this. Although when I asked the ladies in my Facebook group, they said they preferred it with the much more bold lettering. So you'll have to let me know what you think. And on the subject of my Facebook group, do check out the link in the show notes underneath the video. It's a free group and you're more than welcome to join me, and it's the place where I share lots of handy hints and flower arranging and crafting projects. As a final flourish, I'm adding in a couple of stems of my silk cherry blossom. That's all for me for now, and I hope to see you in the next video.